Anything.
Good afternoon, everyone. Share the live. Share the live. Share the live, everyone. Unbelievable. Share the live. Good afternoon, everyone. Hana Mohammad here from the investigation party, led by opposition leader Mohammad. So I'm here again this afternoon on January 3rd, 2026. 3 days after with an update. I was here on December 31st, 2025, 3 days ago, in Little Diamond. Behind me is a small strip of government reserve. And then
They're not hearing you, not. This is.
not hearing.
No sound.
You guys hear now?
Everyone's barely hearing. Disconnected.
Can you hear now?
too much background noise.
Are you guys hearing now?
All right, try this one. Try.
Is the volume good now, guys?
Try to put the wind here.
Is everyone hearing now? Is it loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay, so Hana Mohammad for the reinvestigation of political parties led by opposition meeting President Mohammad. I was here 3 days ago, December 31st, 2025, showing you the developments here in Little Diamond. Just behind me is a small strip of land, which is government reserve, and behind that is land, approximately 15 acres of private property belonging to the opposition leader in waiting, President Mohammad, and his father, Nizar Mohammad. So what is happening here today, and started on December 31st, 2025, 3 days ago, is political persecution of the opposition leader, where the PPP government is directly infringing on the rights of the opposition leader by hiring contractors and paying crews of workmen as much as nearly dozens of workmen, nearly 50 workmen, to come here onto the property belonging to the opposition leader and encouraging vulnerable Guyanese citizens whom the PPP government has neglected to provide housing for, even though they have readily available turnkey homes where they can put these vulnerable Guyanese citizens to live. A vast amount of resources to build them homes and to give them land, but instead the PPP government has chosen to enable and even facilitate these vulnerable Guyanese citizens to come here and to occupy unlawfully the land belonging to the opposition leader here in Little Diamond. And so I'm calling on the authorities to stop this. 3 days ago, the land, you might probably remember, it was not cleared. Just a small part of it was cleared, and now it has about a quarter of the land has been cleared from this main road, almost all the way back to the I'm not sure the name of that road. Behind, they have hired contractors, support heavy machinery here to clear the land. You can see all the way in the back an excavator. So this is a mammoth undertaking by the PPP government of enormous effort to clear this land, probably with taxpayer money, so that they can enable and facilitate vulnerable Guyanese citizens to come here and unlawfully occupy the opposition leader's land. So this morning, the co-owner of the land, Mohammad, took a couple of trips to the police station here in Diamond to file a police report formally and to explain the situation that is unfolding here and the direct political persecution of his son, Mohammad, leader of the Reinvested Nationhood political party and presumptive opposition leader. He filed the police report, and the police indicated that Mr. Mohammad should erect signs on the property, stating clearly that the property is private property and that trespassers will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So one key point to note is that this morning when Mr. Mohammad was here speaking to the citizens and in a very peaceful, non-confrontational manner, so the police officers, just another point to note, the police officers from Diamond Police Station who took the report, and this is very important to note, those police officers have been transferred with immediate effect. So I want Guyanese to understand, Guyanese here living in Guyana as well as Guyanese in the diaspora, and the international community, the local media, the international media, to understand the level of political persecution happening here in Guyana against the opposition leader in waiting, Mohammad, where filing a police report about trespassing on his private property and having the police officers in that police station taking his report leads to them being transferred. So this is direct political persecution and dictatorship by the PPP government that is happening here in Guyana, right in front of our eyes. Another key point to note is that this morning, upon speaking to the contractor hired by the PPP government, sitting in one of those machines, he said directly and pointedly when asked who told him to come here by Mr. Mohammad, when asked who hired him to come here to clear this land, his response was Kwame McCoy. So I understand that Kwame McCoy is a sitting minister of the PPP government. I'm not sure because I've only seen videos of him struggling to read scripted messages on social media and propaganda. So I'm not sure if he's an actual sitting minister. I know that the PPP rewards child molesters and pedophiles and persons alleged of doing these acts. I'm not sure. But the contractor said quite pointedly that he was told to come here directly by the sitting PPP minister named Kwame McCoy. The citizens also were on the side of the road waiting to claim their land once the land has been cleared, have also said that they were sent here by Kwame McCoy. So I'm asking Guyanese citizens, how is it lawful, how is it okay that a sitting minister for the PPP government can instruct and enable and facilitate the illegal and unlawful occupation of unlawful occupation of the opposition leader's land, and to enable squatting, especially when the PPP government themselves are known for kicking squatters off of their lands. And how is this allowed? Regardless of which political party you support, or if you were apolitical, to think on this for a minute and ask yourselves if this is acceptable in what should be a democratic country. You know, this morning, Guyanese and the world awoke to the news unfolding in our neighbor country, Venezuela, where the United States military action and the removal of Nicolas Maduro fundamentally alters the geopolitical and security environment in which Guyana operates. And this pivotal moment where many Guyanese are very tense demands national unity, institutional maturity, and responsible leadership. And this is irresponsible. This is petty politics. This is gutter politics. This is not what we should be expecting in this moment, in this crucial, pivotal moment, where from our national leaders, where they are enabling and facilitating the unlawful squatting on the opposition leaders' private property. Guyana has had to continuously contend with sustained pressure and microaggressions from Venezuela arising out of its unlawful claim to Essequibo. And these tensions do not just disappear because of a regime change, right? And it's quite possible that they may intensify in unpredictable ways. And we cannot, as Guyanese, as concerned Guyanese, pretend that the risks to Guyana are not real and immediate and include a number of possibilities that can leave Guyana even more susceptible to reduced security. So instead of these petty politics and gutter politics, you know, our national leaders should consider the possibility of increased cross-border movement and refugee flow into Guyana, heightened threats to Guyanese citizens, economic and security instability in Guyana. These are the issues that our national leaders should be focused on, and not spending millions of taxpayer dollars on, you know, politically persecuting the opposition leader and his family and his private property. I want to end on a note, just a bit of a personal note, to say that, you know, I've had to listen to my father explain how disheartened he is, how sad he is to know that he has worked his entire life, more than 40 years, to build what he has built. And he has purchased this property, which cost quite a pretty penny. It was not inexpensive, like the lands that are given to the PPP ministers, family and friends, for next to nothing. This property was quite expensive and was paid for. It was, I believe, nearly $105 million, fully paid for. This is not stolen property. This is not acquired property. This was purchased. And this, what's happening here, is unacceptable. And we need to do better than this. So I'm calling, again, on fair-minded Guyanese, all fair-minded Guyanese, to speak up. I'm calling on the international community, the diplomatic missions who are residing here on our shores, the CARICOM community, CARICOM Secretariat, the United Nations here in Guyana, civil society, persecution against the opposition leader, his family, and his private property, and to speak up against this. This is oppression. And of course, I'm calling on the PPP government to provide housing for the vulnerable Guyanese citizens that they are sending here and facilitating the squatting on the opposition leader's private property, to provide housing for them, to provide land for them that they have been applying for decades without any update, without their applications even being processed, to provide them with a decent standard of living, to provide them with a home that they can call their own, to live in dignity. And I'm calling for all fair-minded Guyanese, again, to call this for what it is, which is oppression and political persecution of the opposition leader in waiting, Azrin Mohammad, his family and his private property. And the opposition leader in waiting, President Hana, is a he, and his name is Azrin Mohammad.